Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2024. Unfortunately, we still have some issues from years prior to talk about because they're still as relevant now as they were in 2016. And that is the influx. And before I actually get into that, let me share with you my New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is to be more brutally honest and more direct about these issues and to stop pulling my punches. It doesn't seem to be working or getting through, and the type of vicious attacks against fans are getting worse. So, you've basically destroyed all your goodwill. I am not going to offer you any quarter. I'm just going to be brutally honest. Jamie Marchi opened her mouth on a panel and dressed down not only the fan who was very supplicantly asking the question, but fans in general who have a problem with the localization trend of the West, which is to inflate the self-worth and the political opinion of the person localizing it. So it's not about the original anime, it's not about the original intention, it's about the ego of the person creating it. So Jamie Marchi, let me just be brutally honest, she is not the single problem, she is reflective of a major problem, which is the entertainment spaces, the nerd spaces, the creative spaces have been infiltrated by an army of fat, unattractive, miserable, lonely, pathetic, Western value women that want to export all of their insecurities and inferiorities into the work itself. And if you dare to question or to voice a very well thought out, very well spoken criticism, you will get lambasted. You will get called a bigot. And these terrible toxic women who are the size of a fucking planet will go out on social media and say that the entire fandom or this entire group is toxic and terrible. That is not true now, nor has it ever been true. Now, there are toxic elements in fandoms, sure. We see this in all sorts of fandoms, arguing over about mundane, silly, trivial things. Like, can Goku bench press a planet quicker than, Naruto? It's ridiculous, but people get invested in it because they're fans, and they have every right to. You can waste your time on anything you want, but the moment that some fat, disgusting hag, like Jamie Marchi, gets on a panel in front of a room full of people and starts dressing down people as though you're virgin incels, because you don't like when a character from an anime that's from a different culture in a different country is reformed and colonialized. We know how much the left loves colonialism, right? We know how much they talk about how great America is because it's a colonial power, right? Well, that's exactly what they do with culture. That's exactly what they do with entertainment. They take the culture that existed and created the work that's being imported here because it's so good and nothing in America under these people could ever hope to be as good, and then they change it. They alter it without the permission of the original creator, without their supervision. They just change it because it's all about them and their ego. So then, this fat, disgusting piece of shit like Jamie Marchi will get in front of you and say, no, you don't understand. I have a vagina. Well, first of all, I could have gone 10 lifetimes without hearing that you had a vagina. You are disgusting. I am repulsed by looking at you. You are the size of 3 women stuffed together in one unsightly red-haired sausage roll. I don't want to hear that you have a vagina. I don't care that you have a vagina. My disagreement with you is not because you have a vagina, because there are competent, capable, incredible women in literature spaces. And I will bring up the reference because I always bring her up. Rumiko Takahashi from Japan. She created Inuyasha, Ranma 1/2, and a whole host of other romantic comedy / action mangas that led to animes, a lot of them. The reason I bring her up is because she created all of that herself. She built that up. Do you see Rumiko Takahashi going up saying how great she is? I'm a strong, empowered, incredible woman. No, because she doesn't have to. Because she's a legend. But Jamie Marchi is not a legend. I will reiterate her fatness, because people will take issue with it. Her fatness and her ugliness and her being way past her prime, her being an old hag, all of that is relevant to her personality that she is barfing out to an audience that doesn't deserve it. I'm not being needlessly mean, I'm being direct. All of her insecurities are going right in to her responses, how she acts. She's a classless bimbo piece of trash. That's not just me insulting her, that's an observation. That's an observation about her character or lack of character, her lack of personality, her lack of being a decent, functional human being. She is an egotist in the extreme, but she is not in herself the problem. The problem are all of these fat women. Jamie Marchi is fat, but so was Monica Rial. And she had the same sort of issues. She was unattractive, she's old, and she's a terrible person. But all of those women there sat on that panel and clapped for each other like a bunch of fucking seals. Rah, girl power bullshit, all just puked out into the world, shat out into existence when it had no merit. So it is these women who are too old, too ugly, and too fat, and too stupid, and too lazy to create something that are causing a major problem. That is the problem, whether you want to admit it or not. Because Rumiko Takahashi, this sweet little Asian lady, this sweet little Japanese lady, she's not causing problems. Some of the incredible women that work in the creative spaces, they're not acting this way. J.K. Rowling's not acting this way. And if anyone could act in the way that Jamie Marchi does, it's J.K. Rowling. Do you know why J.K. Rowling can do that? Do you know why she should be allowed to do that? She should be allowed to do that because she has the pedigree. She has the legacy. She made Harry Potter. She earned all of her accomplishments. She could say anything she wanted, in my opinion. Once you create something that spectacular, you should be free to say whatever you want. But this goes far beyond that. Some of the most talented and capable women in entertainment are the ones that are silent, or at least far more humble than somebody like Jamie Marchi, who is just disgusting, inside and out. So now that I've given you that opener, I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. I hope you can understand my feelings and my opinion on this, because I genuinely find these people to be horrible.
Here. So believe it or not, we have another round of localizer related drama to cover today. In the past 24 hours alone, we have many more things to cover. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Now, how did we get here? Well, this week there's been a big debate about whether or not AI should replace localizers, where a lot of people don't have any sympathy for the localizers because they look at the vandalism they have committed against anime and manga for the past 2 decades through their mistranslations, and they just don't feel sorry for them. They really just don't. And there's been...
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I wouldn't shed a tear if any of these people lost their jobs to AI.
Been a definite fuel to the fire here where localizers have really divided themselves from their fans even stronger, because in response to these criticisms being made on places like Twitter, these localizers and their supporters have been making unhinged and completely unlikable tweets that are just pissing people off even more and confirming that...
I just want to interrupt here for a second. I don't know why there's a guy's voice coming out of an anime girl. I'll just throw that out there. I'm not up to date on the lore of what spell took place to make this thing happen, but it's pretty weird. I look at this anime girl character, and I'm just saying.
They have no respect for the mediums that they're translating, and they have no respect for the fans that are supposed to consume that stuff. And I genuinely believe if it wasn't for the reaction of localizers over the past week, this thing might have died down a lot quicker. But now we're seeing clips like this resurface from 2020 even, where there was a Q&A featuring the My Hero Academia cast. This is a clip we looked at yesterday.
Oh, this was from 2020? I didn't know that, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been going on for quite some time. This has been an issue that's been going on and on and on, and apparently since 2020. That clip could have been taken from last week. The attitudes, the perspectives, they're all the same. The same arrogance, the same narcissism, the same ego drives what they're doing. And the fans don't deserve it. What they deserve is what they pay for, which is an anime that is localized to perfection, as accurate as humanly possible, or as accurate as an AI can be.
Where the voice actress Jamie Marchi would have some very interesting things to say in response to criticism about mistranslations in the medium. Let's give this a quick listen once again, because the quote is just mind-boggling.
Well, I'm kind of scared to ask this question now because I don't want to bring down the room. So this is more directed at Jamie, but all of you can answer.
Go,
all of
Jamie,
you
go. I'm
have,
excited
like,
about it. I'm ready to
input
bring
on
down the
this.
room. Let's do
We
it.
need a spotlight.
So
on
Funimation
Jamie.
has come under.
Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see how it's all the same type of woman with the same type of attitude? The same type of yas queen, girl boss, fat, maybe not like the most, not morbidly obese. Like Jamie Marchi is definitely. I mean, look at those shoulders. I mean, if your body looks like a giant U above the table, like look at her. I don't know about these two right here. I can't really see them all that clearly. I do think they are part of. Well, I mean, obviously they're part of My Hero Academia, but the problem is that they're all part of the same circle, the same politics, the same group, the same Yas Queen bullshit, and that's a huge issue because there's no pushback. So they're all clapping, yeah, Jamie, yeah, you're damaging our reputation and being an obnoxious, horrible person. Yay! It's like, wow. There's nobody with the strength of character to say, I don't agree with her. I don't stand with her. I'm my own person. Yeah, this whole thing about women are so independent. They're not. Women are the biggest collectivists on the fucking planet. Because any person of sound mind and conscience, after hearing what she said, would immediately rebuke her and say, I don't want any part of that. But because they're all part of this sisterhood of the traveling fat pants, they're all going to get on board and congratulate her on a stunning and brave statement.
Let's call it criticism for how they choose to adapt their scripts for
Like
a couple
unnecessary
of shows.
hate. Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like unnecessary hate. No, very valid frustration. And not only is it frustration for the terrible job that you're doing, but it's frustration for your attitude, because your attitude stinks to high heaven. Your attitude is horrible. You refuse to take accountability because you, again, I keep coming back to this, because you are fat, because you are ugly, because you are stupid, because you are not good at anything. You take all of those insecurities that you know are true and you just shove them outward. And unfortunately, what suffers are the industries that you work in, the work that you produce, the fans, the original creators from Japan. Everyone suffers because you can't handle criticism about you and your ideology and what you believe, and how it is a rancid, toxic, selfish ideology that is built around your narcissism and ego.
and a lot of that I feel is directed at you unfairly.
Thank you.
So how would you like to respond to that kind of criticism?
To the criticism, like, I have a vagina, deal with it.
So I genuinely believe that the responses from localizers has only sped up the reaction and interest in these related subjects, to the point where you have mainstream channels like Asmongold reacting to the situation and putting a huge spotlight
Based Asmongold. Yeah, his response to that was amazing.
on these localizers and their mistranslations. And I genuinely believe it might not have gone that far if it wasn't for the fact that localizers are making themselves look like even bigger clowns in response to all these criticisms flying around on social media currently. And the person who was talking in the clip we just watched, that is Jamie Marchi once again, and she really is the embodiment of everything that anime and manga fans.
Look at this character right here. I mean, is that like a her self insert? I mean, goddamn, that's pretty much on brand.
Don't want in those mediums, okay? She is a person who clearly has no respect for source material, no respect for fans, and she has her own selfish agenda and wants to push that for her own personal reasons and selfish gain, okay? And really, in response to that clip, she has only made things worse. She is responding to people bringing up those comments from her Q&A and also some other localizations that she was involved in. Now, here's her response to criticism stemming.
What was the question? Do you even know? How would you respond? How would you like to respond to that kind of criticism? Oh, I have a vagina. What an epic response to an audience that waits for a solid answer, not a meme rage bait. On a woman in anime panel, he asked me what I would say to people who criticize. That's not the question. God. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to really, really, truly understand. When I call Jamie Marchi a number of adjectives because I use my eyes and my brain and my ears and my nose, I can smell the cat piss and the folds, the sweat from the folds of her fat permeating through my screen. I want you to understand, this woman is not just nasty and mean. She's extremely stupid. She is a classless harpy on a women in anime panel. So first of all, women in anime panel is a stupid idea from the get-go. It's self-indulgent, it's bullshit, and let's be honest here. Aside from the women who are actually creating and producing and being part of the process for manga and anime, these women in the West are ruining anything they touch. They don't deserve a panel other than to study what not to do. So this is a self-glorification panel. You're asked, hey, there's some valid criticism around. Well, the guy didn't say it was valid criticism. He was about to piss himself because he knew what a toxic piece of shit you are, a rancid piece of trash, an ignorant, foul harpy from the bowels of hell. He knew that you were horrible. So, what did he do? Well, he basically got on his knees and said, please don't humiliate me. That's essentially what he did. Please don't humiliate me. Please. You heard the way he talked. I don't agree with them. But what would you say to them? He agrees. He just doesn't have the balls to say it to you. Now, he asked what I would say to people who criticize me. No, it wasn't about you specifically. How would you respond to the criticism of localizers injecting woke, blue-pilled, fat, land whale, unattractive, middle-aged women type of insecurities and politics into this piece of work that has nothing to do with it? How do you respond to that? Well, I have a vagina. Well, shit, that's not an answer. And this only makes you look more stupid. I answered his question. No, you did not. Clearly, you didn't have enough respect for this guy to actually listen to his question. You thought he asked a question that you wanted answered, which is, what do I say to people who criticize me? Oh, well, I'm unstoppable. I've got a vagina. I'm smart. I'm stunning and brave. I'm amazing. No one could do what I do. The reality is, bitch, everyone could do what you do. An AI could do what you do. The only reason why people are fans of people in the entertainment space is their loving connection to the fans. And Vic Mignogna is the perfect example. While you're a rambunctious, obnoxious cunt, Vic Mignogna is one of the nicest guys I've ever seen. Like, genuinely. He makes videos to his fans all the time in this really nerdy, really endearing way. He makes all these videos like, hey guys, I'm on the set of this thing doing something silly, and his fans absolutely adore him for it. You're horrible. You're a miserable, nasty, toxic person that exports your issues on people that don't deserve it. They have their own problems. They like anime. You're voice acting. You chose this job. And yet you can't give them the respect of even giving them a proper answer about what do you say to the criticism around these localizers, you're one of them, that are doing a shitty fucking job.
Coming from the clip where this user would say, in quotes, how would you like to respond to that kind of criticism? And Jamie would say, oh, I have a vagina. And then this user says, what an epic response to an audience that waits for a solid answer, not meme rage bait. Where Jamie would reply saying, on a woman in anime panel, he asked what I would say to these people who criticize me. I answered his question, you don't have to like it, but I'm sure to answer honestly. If my answer makes you that angry, maybe you should just get over it. Now, this is something she has said to dozens of users over the past 24 hours. She keeps telling...
So, ladies and gentlemen, I also want to point something out. Look at the number of likes she gets. Look at the number of likes. This is a nobody. She's getting 17 views. This guy, John Smith-Aroni, is getting almost as many views as she is. Now, I'm sure that this has gone up in the past however long. It's been a day. I'm sure it's gone up. But the point is, she's not a big name. And that would be fine. You don't have to be a big-time star. But if you're going to act like this, people like me are going to rip you a new asshole because you deserve it, because you're absolutely terrible. You're terrible at what you do. You refuse to learn and grow. You disrespect the fans. You give them content like this. You're outright lying. Either you're lying or you're stupid or you're both. I think you're both, but there's no way to make this make sense other than that, because that's not what the guy asked. We see the video. Did you not watch the video in making a preparation to this response? No, of course you didn't. You couldn't be bothered.
Telling them to get over it. Just deal with it. Stop being sensitive. And these are people just simply pointing out A, mistranslations that she supported, and B, her weird comments in that Q&A. And all she says is get over it. And again,
half of my monthly premium is covered with financial help. And knowing I'm covered to go to therapy and fill my...
Like I said in my previous video, she's not just a voice actress. She's actually the voice actress for the Funimation dub of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid and the character Lukwa, who quite literally is the character that delivered this iconic line, the classic, oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves, so I changed clothes. She is the one who delivered that line. Now, in response to this image floating around a lot over the past week, there is a question a lot of people have had. Clearly, Jamie, as the voice actress, supported and approved of this localization. But the question that remained is, was it her decision? Was she the one who changed this line? Did she write these words that she eventually provided in the dub? Well, we'll get her answer to that. And of course, in the process, she'll be trying to gaslight you into thinking something else. So here's this user once again replying saying, your
entire stance comes from get over it, deal with it, suck it up attitude towards the audience that asked you the question in the first place. You were right. You did answer the question. Well, why do you feel like it's even an appropriate way to respond? because men do not get attacked like I do. Oh my God. Oh my God. This just completes it. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a prophet. I'm not like some mystic. Look at this victim mentality bullshit. Look at this. Look at it. Men don't get attacked like I do. Well, first of all, Vic Mignogna went through absolute hell because of you and your fat, unattractive, middle-aged friends. Beyond middle-aged. You're old. But you say that you get attacked. No, no, no. Everything you do, you bring it on yourself. It's called karma. You deserve to be mocked and humiliated and insulted and torn down. Because you're horrible. It's not because you're a woman. Because men in the same position. Hey, Sean Schimmel took an absolute pounding after the victim too. Because people saw what a slimy piece of shit he was. Chris Sabot as well. He took a reputational pounding. They all did. Because you're all terrible, mean, nasty people.
Entire stance comes from get over it, deal with it, suck it up attitude towards the audience that asked you the question in the first place. You are right, you did answer the question, but why do you feel like that's even an appropriate way to respond to that? Which, of course, yeah, is that really appropriate? Someone asks you, why do you, what do you think about this mistranslation? And you immediately start talking about your vagina. That's pretty weird to me, right? Like, that sounds even worse when you think about it that way, but anyway.
I mean, when the guy wearing an anime girl VTuber avatar is calling you weird, no offense to Rev, I think he's great. But when that person is telling you that you're weird, and that's a weird way to conduct yourself, you know that you fucked up.
Anyways, Jamie would respond saying, because men do not get attacked like I do. The director of the show is a man, the producer, the head writer, yet I'm the only one attacked. I've been attacked for lines I didn't write, while the rage mob ignores the man who wrote the line, I have a vagina, get over it. In case that wasn't clear, guys.
I mean, oh boy. This is, now she's trying to throw the producer, the director, and ladies and gentlemen, don't ever hire women like this. I will tell you this. Do not hire old women who are fat and ugly and have this type of attitude. Western women with this type of victim mentality, do not hire them ever for any job. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you need somebody just to take up space. Find a couple other skinny people and put them together. There is nothing in this woman that allows her to take responsibility for anything that she's done. Nothing. She went out there and made this an issue. She's the one that couldn't deal with it in a classy, intelligent way. And to answer a legitimate question that people have about these blue-pilled losers making these changes. And by the way, you're the character. You chose to go along with it because you supported and you agreed with it. And it was all raw girl power for a little bit there. Now you're throwing people under the bus because I'm a woman. You are such a pathetic loser.
She's tripling down on that point. But anyways, a lot to unpack here. So, of course, this line makes it very clear that we're boiling this down to a specific line. The Dragon Maid localization and the line about the patriarchy. But anyways, so she starts off here saying, because men do not get attacked like I do. That's a lie. That's an absolute lie. You can look at my videos from this week and other people covering this subject. There are plenty of male localizers and male supporters of those localizations who are getting called out for these things. This has absolutely nothing to do with gender. I can't make this any more clear to people like Jamie If this was a man making the same comments you did, he would be getting criticized the same level. If he went on there in an interview and...
So I don't know if any of you remember, but a couple years ago, Blizzard had a BlizzCon. It was a Blizzard commercial that people paid money to go and sit in person. There was a very disappointing announcement. It was, I think it was Diablo Immortal. And those guys on stage got absolutely roasted, spit roasted. Holy shit. Those guys, those guys are still the butt of a joke today. Is this an out of season April Fool's joke? They got absolutely savaged. Men in the entertainment industry go through hell. It's not about the gender, it's about what you're saying and how you're saying it and how you're treating fans and the material and what type of person you are. All of that plays a huge, huge factor.
Said, I don't care about your feelings about mistranslations. I have a big sweaty nutsack. Get over it. People would be clowning on him equally as Jamie. And going on throughout here, this idea that she didn't write this. She's heavily implying that she did not write these lines, which already contradicts with a lot of tweets she's made where she's trying to take ownership for making these localizations. But we'll see here that she is being incredibly disingenuous, and quite frankly, she's trying to gaslight people into thinking she didn't write the Dragon Maid line. Well, going forward, another user would say, since you're applying, do you think it's fair for the original writer or the fans to have the words and meaning of the anime change for your agendas? Imagine people wanting to escape real-world problems for fun to be hit with your forced politics and agendas. No rest, huh? Where Jamie replies, do you have a real question or do you just want to accuse me of stuff? Where the user would reply, you bragged in 2019 post about it, no false accusations here. Should have just done your job and translated accurately, not changing the core meaning of statements in anime for your personal beliefs. Where Jamie would reply saying, bragged about what? Writing literally every line ever that you don't like, that's your argument here? That is not their argument. They're talking about a specific set of lines, and Jamie's trying to make it sound like this person's accusing them of writing every bad localization ever, which is obviously not what they were doing. But the user would reply saying, why do you think you are entitled to change the context of statements in the anime? You don't own it, and you didn't write it, and no one wants to hear you complain about your imaginary patriarchy. People watch anime for escapism, not for your therapy sessions about how bad all men are.
God damn! It looks like I wrote that myself. Oh, that is fantastic. That is so perfect. That is so perfect because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. This is a therapy session. I keep saying it. Fat, ugly, stupid, and entitled. And old. These women go into these spaces not because they love them, not because they care for the fans. They go into it because they know that they can change it. Because the men working on it are apparently so weak that they feel that they can make these changes and it's no problem. And somebody like Jamie can walk all over them, apparently. But that is so true about the therapy sessions. They dump out all of their issues and then blame you for not affirming every one of their bad ideas.
Where Jamie replies saying, so you genuinely believe I changed every line you haven't liked ever. Might want to reevaluate your reality, dude. Again, this first statement is not what they're saying, and she's once again trying to gaslight this user into saying something or believing they said something that they didn't. But then right here she says, might want to reevaluate your reality, dude. So they're talking about the Dragon Maid line and saying you're responsible for it, and she's heavily implying she's not, and then basically saying they're crazy for thinking that she might. Well, the user would reply to that saying, you didn't do the Dragon Maid patriarchy cringe joke. You didn't respond negatively to criticism and attack the fans. you didn't downplay your mistakes and dodge accountability by saying they hate me because I'm a woman, imagine fans rooting for AI instead of you. And there's nothing here that is made up or an exaggeration. These are things that we know exist, whether it's through the screenshots or the Q&A. These things are not debatable. But Jamie would reply by saying, I normally don't respond positively to death threats, accusations, and assumptions. I wrote the line. I don't find it cringy. You do. That's fine. What else you got? So she wrote the line. She wrote the patriarchy line.
Yeah, what am... what did I tell you guys? Stop asking me to update Windows. Although updating Windows would be preferable to this, honestly. I'd be staring at a blank screen instead of staring at a blank human being. This is a person that has absolutely no ethics, no compunction to tell the truth, no accountability. This is a genuinely toxic and awful person that you don't want anywhere around what you're doing or your brand. If you want to watch the rest of the video, I would definitely recommend it. Localizers Can't Stop Lying by Rev Says Desu. I will put a link into my description for my video. But yeah, it is very, very crucial that you all understand that these people exist in the entertainment spaces and not to forget about it. Because that was from 2019, 2020. Time goes on. But somebody like Jamie Marchi is still working at Funimation. She's still working there. And you saw the range of things she went through, right? When she realized that gaslighting wasn't working, she just basically cycled back to, well, yeah, I did write the line, what of it? So after all the gaslighting failed, she admitted that she wrote the line. The problem with writing the line is that it was cringe, and if you don't think it was, as you stated, that is your poor judgment. And by the way, I don't think that anyone would bother to send Jamie Marchi death threats. Or at least if you do, you shouldn't. She's not worth your time. I mean, let's be honest here. What she's doing to her own body by what she's eating is gonna do the job anyway. She's obese. She's old. Time will do the rest. So don't send any sort of threats like that. They're not worth it. She's a nobody. She's not worth sending that stuff to. So don't do it. It validates her. It gives her a reason to live. And honestly, I'm good with not giving her any more of those reasons, because it's so terrible. She's a horrible human being. She's a classless, ignorant pile of garbage. There's nothing redeemable about her. There's no answer that you're going to give because she doesn't have the intelligence or the strength of character to admit that she was wrong or to grow or to learn. And this is the type of women that you want me to listen and believe, as opposed to somebody like Vic Mignogna, who is a genuine, down-to-earth, good, humble person? My answer is absolutely not. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this video has gone on long enough, but I don't foresee doing another video on this topic for the foreseeable future. At least I hope not. Just let this topic die like Jamie Marchi's career. Anyway, on that note, I will bid you guys a good day, and I will see you next time.